Hey YouTube, old man in a kayak, stretch line bait and tackle. After fishing this last weekend, storms moved through. I was old wet man in a kayak, but that's a whole nother story. That's on another video. You'll see that there was thunderstorms that were popping up and disappear and pop up and disappear. And so the first half of the morning was pretty wet. Thankfully there wasn't a lot of wind, but there was a lot of rain, and I had to hunker down for a little bit when the electrical storms popped through. But anyway, I made it off the water safe. I always practice water safety first, and so when I saw the storm moving, I always watch my radar and weather reports. I look at multiple sources, so I have hopefully have the best knowledge or information that I can get. But then I'm also looking at the sky and I'm watching the distance and I'm watching to see what's going on, because when you're on a kayak on the water, you need to be safe. Safety first, because you're going to go out there, fish, have fun, but come home so you can do it again. So, okay, anyway, well, I tested a couple of lures out there this weekend, and the fishing wasn't that good. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was pretty much dead when the storms moved through. It stilled everything. And then after the storm moved out, fishing kind of spiked up for about an hour or so and then dropped off. So anyway, what I was doing is I was testing the Nessie, the 7-inch Nessie here. And you can see this here. This is the Berkley Nessie. It has these fins here. And this glide bait here, swim bait, glide bait, this is my first time using this, and I still have to get used to this. This takes a little knack to get used to getting that motion and movement. And the one thing I did not do with this Nessie 7 was I did not add any weights to it. And I'm still working on this bait, deciding how I want to use it, when I want to use it, and if I want to do any weights or anything like that to it. It does looks like it has some spots where I could put some weights in if I want to bring it down a little bit. But anyway, my testing was limited on this. But the lure that I really did use quite a bit was I used the Cull Shad 6, and let me pop this loose here so I can show you. All right, this is the Nessie Cull Shad 6 by Berkley, and you can see it's got this honeycomb in the tail here, which is really good because it gives it a good little flutter there when you're pulling this bait in. And I love this hook keeper system here. When a fish bites onto it and gets hooked, this hook pulls away from the bait, and that takes some of that leverage away from the fish to fight, because when they've got your lure in their mouth and they've got something to grab onto and shake, you can have your hook set come loose sometimes, but with this, the hook pulls free, so they're only fighting against the hook, not against the whole weight of the lure. And it's pretty nice because it snaps into a little clip there, and then your hook, there's a pre-cut slot here in the belly. Let's see if we can see that. But anyway, the one end of the hook pops in there, so you can see it rides flat. I mean, you still have two exposed hooks, but the thing I discovered is this is a floating bait. This is 0 to 6 inches, right? Now, when I first used this, the first one I got didn't swim right at all. It swam like crap. But then I learned that they had a recall, and so I contacted Berkley, sent them photos of the box and the barcode and all that stuff, and they sent me a freebie. So thanks, hats off to Berkley for standing behind their product. And I do use other Berkley products. Their X9 line, braided line, love that stuff. I like it better than Seeger myself. So that's my primary braided line that I use. And I'm not paid or compensated in any way, shape, or form from Berkley. The only thing I ever got from Berkley was one warranty lure. So this isn't for money. This is just my principle, what I like to use. But anyway, the Berkley X9 braided line so far has been a real winner for me. Now back to the Cull Shad 6 here. So it's got a paddle tail. Now this thing has got a really good swimming motion. I really like this. I tested it first, and it rides really shallow because the bait floats, right? And so it barely just an inch or two below the surface, which is good for a long, heavy cover if you want to draw a fish out of that cover. to strike. And so this works really, really well for that. And what I did though is I added, see if you can see here, right in here, that is a tungsten nail weight. I added a single tungsten nail weight. This actually has a spot here. You can put it in the nose. It has 2 spots on the belly, one at the front and one towards the middle, where it's where you can, it's indentations where you can put a nail weight in them. So I use these tungsten nail weights that are I believe were 16th ounce. I wish I had one handy. I would show you. I don't think I do. I think I got them put up in my box. But anyway, what I did is I played with my weights. So I got this so it sinks and falls just a little bit. Nothing too drastic. I don't want this fishing on the bottom. I don't want it on the bottom. I want this up in the top water column here. When I'm fishing that water and I want this bait in that 1 foot range and I want to bring it next to or past that heavy cover and I want to draw a bass out to investigate it, this has potential. And it's December and I fished this on a lake, but it was a power plant lake. So the water was 75 degrees. So it wasn't like fishing fall or winter patterns. And so granted, I did not catch a fish on this lure because the fishing had slowed because of the storms, but I did receive 2 good hits on it, but I'm pretty sure they were smaller bass that just got it as it went by. But I will do more testing about this, and I do know when I have I'm part of the BASS kayak series this year for 2025 and North Texas Kayak Association. Also, I'll be fishing both of their tournaments this year, and I've already got the lake planned out for this one, and I've got another color, and I'm going to get 2 more colors of this. Is Caddo Lake in Texas, and that's a shallower water lake and with heavy cover, and I think this is going to be great for without having to throw in the middle of that cover, but bring it along the edges and draw that big fish out to strike this. And I was really impressed with this. And what I noticed, here's a couple things that I noticed on my retrieve. All right, when you bring it in, you slow or fast, this tail gets a nice little swim motion to it. The head stays pretty straight, but you get that nice little flutter, this little kick from the tail. So you don't get a lot of wiggle on the front. There's a little bit, but you got a lot of action on the back. And this thing moves through the upper water column really well, slow or even a steady retrieve. I did not try it on a fast retrieve. I tried it on a slow and then a nice steady retrieve. And I was using a 7-3-to-1 reel, so it wasn't like I was using a really fast burner reel. But the thing that I did do that I liked was adding that nail weight, because now when I stop swimming, I get a little bit of a sink. And so I could cast past some heavy cover, bring this lure up along the edge, and when I'm next to that cover structure, I could slow my cast down or even stop and let this thing sink down, right? And you get that little tail flutter when it sinks, so it sinks down, and then you could bring it back up. And you could do this, you could work it like this, and it's that little bit extra oomph to get that bass to come out and go, hey, here's me a meal, and bite it. So anyway, I am thoroughly pleased with this lure. As a matter of fact, like I said, I have 2 colors now. I have this white, and I have a white with the silver and the blue on it to mimic the shad. And this one, I got the white one because the lake I fish at has a lot of tilapia, and the whites out there work really, really well. So that's why I got this. And I did have 2 good strikes on it, but like I say, I think they were smaller fish. But anyway, and I was using big baits for big fish, and I did catch one, and it wasn't a giant. It was only 17 inches, but it was happy, 17 and a quarter, I think. But anyway, my first impression with this Cull Shad 6, and I watched a lot of other videos on this, but my recommendation to you is if you go out there and you buy this lure and you use it, I would say go out there and get in some clear water. And the water I was fishing in was I could clearly see the 3.5, and 4 foot bottoms clear. So the visibility is really good. It's a really clear lake. So, and this This works really good in that clear water because the action on it, and you can control that action, and you can swim it past that cover and get that strike and have that bass come out there and nail this thing. And I am very well pleased with this. And like I say, when you get one, go out there and experiment it. Get yourself in some clear water. If you have a swimming pool or access to a swimming pool or something like that, get out there and throw this thing and see how it works for you. Play around with your weight system in here. You can put your weight up at the nose if you wanted to do a more nose down. I put mine in the back one, and I still get that sink, but I get a more of a slower sink. So, and then I can bring it back up, and that gives that extra little flutter. And another good thing for this bait, it's a good search bait too, because it's a larger size. And if you're using this and you're getting a lot of followers but no hits, that will give you the information like, okay, you know the bass are there, and you know they're hungry, or you know they're interested because they're following this, but there was something about that they didn't like. It was too big, it was the action, something like that. But when you've located bass with this, you can switch to your other rod and throw something out there that they might like, which it may be as simple as a different color, a different action, higher in the water column, top water, excuse me, lower down in the bottom, bounce across the bottom. So whatever lure you want to use, whether you want to use a jig or a worm or a buzz bait or a frog or just a simple crankbait. So this is a great search bait. Plus, I guarantee you this is going to attract fish because, like I say, I pulled 2 fish out of cover, but unfortunately they were small ones and it was a slow day. But my overall impressions are this, and then the main point I want to give you as a bass fisherman, if you get one of these here, and you're going to go out, get you some of the tungsten nail weights, get the lighter ones, or you should get a couple sizes, and then experiment with this in some clear water. See how it reacts for you, the way you reel, the way you cast. Try your weights in different spots so you can get that action that you want, and you can tailor make this to fish the water that you're going to be fishing. So, alrighty, hey, well, that was my take on the Cull Shad 6. I'm thoroughly impressed with that. I still need to work on the Nessie 7 and these glide baits and stuff, but that will come because some of that stuff is new to me. I'm primarily a crankbait fisherman and Texas and Carolina rigs and weightless flukes and of course buzz baits and frogs, but I'm trying to expand my repertoire, which I need to fish in these tournaments. So I will do another video on this Nessie 7. I've got 3 of these, and I will be bringing more videos on those. Let's see if I can pull this out here. All right. This is the other Cull Shad I have, and it's actually got gold flake in it. They have some darker ones. I want to get the one with the darker blue up top. I have another, I'm sorry. This says Cull Shad, but it's not a Cull Shad. This is actually a Bass Dash. This is a cheaper made glide bait, but I wanted to give this a shot. So I just happened to throw it in this box. It wouldn't get all tangled up and stuff because I got the Cull Shad on there. But anyway, I'll be working this Bass Dash on there. And here's another Nessie 7. I have 2 shades of these. You see, this one has more of the silver and blue, like your shad and your herring. Now, I picked this color because there's a lot of tilapia in the lake, and that silver and the blues and the white is a good tilapia bait, and I think this one might have worked as well out there also. So, but anyway, you can tailor-made and get these colors to fit the pattern for the bait fish, and that's rule number 1. Where you're going to go fishing, wherever you're fishing, find what the bass are eating, find what colors are the bait fish, because I've gone to lakes where crawfish are darker or lighter, sunfish of varied colors. Look at your bait fish or your shad, darker or lighter, because a lot of water temperatures and food and stuff changes their colors. So always make sure you look at the bait fish and tailor your coloring to the fish. And then, of course, with water clarity, sometimes you want that darker color and darker, muddier water to stand out. So anyway, hey, I'm not going to go back on the basics on that. Main thing was just the Cull Shad lure. Like I said, if you get one, experiment with, play with it. I think you'll like it. And it's a good cover bait. It's a good one it's a good locator bait too. And I think it's going to be a good one on the big ones. And like I say, I got a lot of tournaments coming up this spring and summer. So hopefully we can put it into play and get some action on there. Alrighty. Hey, Stretchline Bait and Tackle, aka Old Man of Kayak, going to sign out. Going to remind you to always wear your PFD, stay safe on the water, pick up your trash, pick up other people's trash, and yak it out.